I'm Mark, this is my June review for Aquarius Sun sign and Aquarius rising. This month we have the two biggest aspects of the year, both coming exact, and we also have our first solar eclipse of the year. To start with, we look at the Sun, who's making a conjunction with the North Node. And this always happens around the time of an eclipse, but this is why eclipses are so connected with destiny and fate. Now, this is in your 5th house, so there could be a lot of changes coming on now. Could be changes in a way that's linked to creativity. So it could be that you have a new job, it could be that you move house, it could be any number of changes that are coming up because the eclipse is happening in this 5th house. Now, with the Sun conjunct the North Node, it means you have to push forward in that direction. Now, the North Node is our spiritual way forward, but it's also unfamiliar territory. So there may be apprehension as to what you need to do, but you need to align yourself with that true half now and use that Sun energy with the ambition to make the changes. Also a good time to get some mentoring or information, wisdom from someone to help you on your way, because Chiron is in the 3rd house of information, and Chiron is the wise teacher, so it's a good time to allow this or someone to help you and advise you. On the 2nd, we have our biggest aspect of the year coming into a tight orb, and it will be exact on the 14th of June. Again, it will be exact on the 24th of December, and it's already been exact once in February. This is a long, slow-moving aspect that will have deep repercussions going on into next year. Now, this aspect causes a lot of tension, and this is generational, so it happens to all of us. We'll all be affected. We are personally affected when it contacts some of our personal planets. What happens? Well, we're getting a lot of civil unrest due to this aspect. We're getting a lot of issues about social justice and a lot of challenges to the way we are structured. Now, Uranus causes this because Uranus is the rebellious side, is a planet of change, whereas Saturn is a planet of stability, of organised structure. So this is where there are definitely going to be tensions happening. Now, the thing is, they're both in fixed signs, so neither of them want to give in. So this is going to be a long, hard battle. Now, one of the good byproducts of this aspect and the real hard battle these two had in Greek mythology was that Venus was born out of the battle. And this is why, with this aspect, we see the status of women being raised in our society. We saw this when these two came together last in the mid-70s, when the first woman Prime Minister was Mrs. Thatcher in England. And now, this time they come together, we've got our first Vice President female. And also just recently, in sport, we had first female jockey to win the Grand National Horse Race. So this is a good byproduct of this aspect. For you Aquarians, Saturn's in your 1st house, so your very core, your internal mechanism of structure and organisation will be challenged, and this will come from Uranus in the 4th house. So this will come from the home or from the past. Things will come up that will force you to change, so it's best to go with the change where possible, but it's creative change we want, not destructive change. Now, there's a clue here for you because Mars makes an aspect to the Black Moon Earth, who's also in that 4th house. So this will give you some kind of insight into what it is that's causing the unrest in your home area, and what it is that you perhaps need to change. We have a contradiction for you on the 3rd, because Venus moves into your 6th house and Cancer, and makes a nice aspect to Jupiter, which means it's good for money because Jupiter's in the 2nd house. But we have on the same day a 5-day aspect between Mercury and Neptune, and Neptune's also in your 2nd house, and this aspect is not good for business and not good for money decisions. So you're going to have to weigh this up and see which is best if anything comes up, whether to make a decision or not. Mercury in square with Neptune could put a fog around things. Your thinking won't be as clear as it would normally. Also on that day we have a trine aspect between the Sun and Saturn, so this is good for organising things. You'll be quite set on practical things, so it's a good day to clear things out. On the 4th, there's a very powerful opposition between Mars and Pluto. Now, the difficulty for you, Aquarians, is that this is in your 12th house, so you won't necessarily see or understand what's coming. An opposition, normally it comes straight at you, you can meet it head on. But because Pluto's hidden in the 12th, you may not be aware of it. And Mars in the 6th house will be going about his daily work and his daily duties, and you may suddenly come up against a clash, a power clash or an ego clash, and you may think, where did that come from? So just be wary that these things can happen under this kind of aspect. Then the Sun on the 6th makes an opposition to Juno. Now Juno's in your 11th house, so there could be frustration with friends, there could be a friend or colleague who wants to take over, and you need to just work out what needs to be done with this. On the 7th we have an aspect that will last for 16 days. This is between Pluto and the Black Moon Lilith. Now you may not even be aware of this aspect at all, because the Black Moon Lilith is our shadow side, and this is in the 4th house, and Pluto rules the underworld, and he's in the 12th house where things are hidden. So you may not even be aware of anything going on the outside with this aspect, but there may be a lot going on underneath in your unconscious. Pluto's in the 12th house of the unconscious, and he will be interacting with the shadow side. So there may be things come up, so you just need to be aware that things may come up, and you need to recognise them and then analyse them and deal with them. There could be things to do with power, there could be intense emotions come up, or things from the past, with the Black Moon being in the 4th house. So just be aware of that. Then on the 8th, there's the second biggest aspect of the year coming into orb. This is the sextile between Chiron and Saturn. Now, with this, it will plug into that square between Saturn and Uranus, and Chiron can be the bridge between the two, because his orbit sits in between the two. He's the planet of wisdom and knowledge, and so he can shed light and understanding on this aspect, so that we can use this to unlock some of the tension that's building up. For you personally, Chiron's in your 3rd house, so you can use your intellect, you can use communication to diffuse some of the issues that's going on in your own life. On the 10th we have the solar eclipse, and this eclipse is in Gemini, 19 degrees. So if you have planets in any of the mutable signs, that's Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius or Gemini, around 15 to 26 degrees, then it's going to affect you quite acutely. The eclipse belongs to the Saros 5 North series and is renowned for bringing hunches, insights, flashes of inspiration, messages from the unconscious or from the psychic realms. So if you get any of these, any dreams or visions or anything, you need to act on it, because they are provided to you by this eclipse, so that you can make use of them. Now, the other thing is, this eclipse is in your 5th house, so this is a good time. This will raise your levels of enthusiasm, raise your confidence and your self-esteem, and you'll feel more creative as well. You want to do things and try new things. It's good for romance, it's good for love, it's good for creativity, it's good for working for children, and it's very good especially for your creativity. Now, in Gemini you're going to be bombarded with information, because Gemini is a sign of quick thinking and lots of information coming from all directions. So you'll be almost bombarded with information that you'll have to deal with and put to good use. But it really is a time now for you to shine, so make sure you take advantage of this, and make sure you're not afraid to try something new or go in a different direction. Also on the 10th there's a conjunction between Ceres and Uranus. Now the asteroid is renowned for nurturing and caring, whereas Uranus is quite the opposite, it's about independence. So these two will highlight an area where maybe things are uncomfortable, So you need to get some balance in this area. This is the 4th house of your home. So this is a very good time to discover some of the things that Uranus is not happy about, and where he wants to be more independent and have more freedom. And you can probably tie that in with the Saturn square to see where the limitations are coming in. And maybe the nurturing and the freedom side can be balanced. Also, we have a conjunction between the Sun and Mercury on the 10th. So it may just be difficult for you to explain yourself and explain what's going on to people, because Mercury is retrograde, and there may be difficulty putting your point across or explaining to people. But don't worry, there'll be plenty of time when Mercury turns direct later in the month. On the 12th, Mars moves into Fire sign Leo and your 7th house, so your energy becomes strated more towards the needs of others. Now, Venus makes an aspect to Uranus. Venus in that 6th house of your daily routine, so Venus will want a bit of a break. She wants some excitement. She'll want something to happen today. There's also a square from Venus to Chiron, so it's a good time to learn about your everyday relationships, people you come in contact with on a daily basis. Then on the 13th, you may want to take a bit of a rest, because you've been very busy with all those planets going through the 5th house, a lot of entertaining and socialising, and the Sun makes a square to Neptune, so it's a good day to chill out and relax and just take stock of where you are, perhaps. On the 20th, Jupiter goes retrograde in your 2nd house, and the lesson here is to gain an appreciation of what you have, and also to develop a very good relationship with money. Then on the 21st, Venus has a fantastic aspect with Neptune. This is a trine, and these two go well together. It's a day filled with fantasy and daydreams. And it's also a good day to think up new ideas and new ways that you can make money. On the 21st, the Sun moves into Cancer, and the focus is more on your daily routines over the next month. Then on the 22nd, Mercury moves direct, give him a few days to get going again, and then communication and all information should be free flowing. On the 23rd, Venus makes a very powerful opposition to Pluto, just as Mars did earlier on. And again, Pluto in that 12th house makes it difficult to get a handle on things, so you might not see things coming. But again, there could be power struggles within relationships, and there could be impulses coming up from the unconscious. So just be wary of this and just be careful, so you know what these are when they happen. On the 24th, there's a full moon in Capricorn, and this is in your 12th house. So this is a time when you may have an overwhelming desire to be on your own and to withdraw. You've been very busy just lately. You've been doing a lot of work, a lot of creative things, a lot of everything, and now it's time just to perhaps chill out and reflect a little bit, and see where you may need to make some informed changes, because the things are brewing under the surface, and it might be time to look at things closely so that you can make some changes, so that you don't get burnout. Now, also there's another aspect with Venus aspect and the Black Moon Lilith, and this is a good time to do what's best for yourself. You get in touch with what you need and look at it that way. It's also a good time when new people, new opportunities could come into your life. Then, with the Capricorn side of it, it's time to get things finished off. It's time to perhaps, if you've got a project going, bring it to an end now. Get it finished off. On the 25th, Neptune goes retrograde, also in your 2nd house. And the lesson here is to develop proper values within the material world and to adhere to those values. Then on the 27th, Venus moves into Leo and joins Mars there, and the signature of Venus in Leo is pride and passion. So look forward to some passionate times ahead. Then on the 27th, also Mars makes a sextile aspect to the North Node. Now, we've had a lot with the North Node earlier this month, so Mars bringing his energy in now. It's a time to actually get on and do these things. You know, we had the Sun contact at the beginning of the month when new ideas, new paths may have opened up. Now it's time to get on and achieve and set things in motion. You may be a bit apprehensive. The North Node's always a difficult way to follow because it's all new ground, but it's time to push on now. On the last day of the month, the 30th, Mars makes a final aspect, and that's an opposition to Saturn and a square to Uranus. And this forms a T-square, which is a very challenging configuration. Alone, Mars making an opposition to Saturn causes irritation, a build-up of frustration and sometimes anger. And then there's the square to Uranus, which is very unpredictable. So what's the best way to deal with this challenging T-square? Well, we look at the empty spot. Now the empty spot makes a grand cross, and it's opposite Uranus, which is the 10th house in Scorpio. So here, if we put a lot of effort now into career and a lot of concentration in that house, it will help to balance the energy, and it will help to turn the T-square, which is very challenging, into a dynamic grand cross, and the energy will flow a lot better. So use that energy, concentrate it in the 10th house of your career or your destined path, your public standing, and that will divert the energy, and you'll get a lot more out of this aspect. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the review. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe. If you'd like to leave me a comment, I'll be glad to hear from you.